Very good morning to all of you, and it's really heartening to get positive response and appreciation after the budget from all across the cross-section of the society. Well, while the compliments are being uh, given to us, I would say the compliments to the entire uh, taxpayer community, and congratulations because all the taxpayers get benefited with the present budget proposals. Uh, as has been also already mentioned by Mr. Pranav Satya, there are many initiatives that are reflected in the present budget proposals so far as the direct tax side is concerned. And the first and the foremost is the paradigm shift in the approach towards governance of indirect tax area. Uh, as Honorable Finance Minister in her budget speech said, trust first is the motive. So that is the basic theme with which we have come up with this with the different budget proposals in this budget. Also, progressive tax policies providing stability, because that is so important when seeing it from the perspective of ease of doing business, as also the global trends and that are emerging. So, what are the key features of the budget insofar as the direct tax side is concerned? The first I would like to say is the approach of the tax department that is changing, and I would like here put to the table the approach of prudent approach. PRUDENT, and that's how do we look at this prudent approach. The P of prudent is being proactive, being professional. That is what we are working. You see, we have about 9 crore returns that are being filed. Some situations would come, some issues would be flagged. The challenge is how quickly we respond to those issues. So, can we be proactive? And we are moving towards that. So, the department is moving towards having a proactive approach towards resolving issues which come its way. Our approach is rule-based. So there is no surmises, conjectures. It's a rule-based approach with which we are now going ahead with doing the tax administration. U of prudent is being user-friendly, that whatever services that we are providing, let it be user-friendly so that users actually use them, make use of that, and that builds confidence into the system. D of prudent is being data-driven, data-based decision-making. So if there are red flags, a certain sort of data analytics goes beyond it, some data churning goes beyond it, red flags are raised. And what we are seeing is the response of the taxpayer is equally encouraging. E is enabling environment, provide enabling environment, have an inclusive approach. N is non-intrusive tax administration, and T is technology and transparency. So this is the basic theme with which the tax department is moving ahead. Because it is no longer adversarial tax department. It is no longer the adversarial approach that we are actually taking. It is a participative approach. Taxpayer participates in the growth of economy and in governance. And one of the attempts here in the budget is the proposal of expanding the concept of updated returns. So the updated returns till now was for 2 years. Now the taxpayer has been given that opportunity to actually update a return in case some issue is flagged, some data comes, some information comes, the AIS gets updated, and you want to update a return. So up to 4 years, you can actually update without questioning, without answering any questions. So we pay additional tax, and then that is the end of the story. So therefore, updated return is a concept of trust first approach. And I'm happy to share that the concept of updated returns has been received so well by the taxpayer community. About 90 lakh updated returns have been filed in the last about few years. and additional taxes of about 8,500 crores has already been paid. So that reflects that the taxpayer is responding, and that has encouraged us to expand this scheme. The other areas which we have touched upon in this budget is on rationalization of TDS and TCS. So it's a fourfold uh, steps that we have taken in order to rationalize the TDS and TCS. One is optimizing the thresholds, reducing the number of thresholds that were there earlier and optimizing it. The second is optimizing the number of rates of TDS and TCS. The third component is decriminalization of the TDS and TCS. And also rationalizing some features, some areas where the taxpayers were, deductors were really finding it difficult to comply with the TDS provisions. For example, on the same transaction, the TDS and TCS was being done, the transaction was about 50 lakhs. So we have removed that. There are certain other transactions. For example, LRS. So the limits have been enhanced from 7 lakhs to 10 lakhs. So number of steps have been taken on the TDS and the TCS front. On the trust side, the charitable trust, there were certain irritants which were being placed and have been flagged. So those have also been got to be removed. On transfer pricing area, there also we have got reduced the number of examinations that was till now happening. So instead of every year determination of arm's length price, that can be done for 3 years in one go. So I think that would go a long way in bringing relief to the taxpayers. The other steps that we have taken is expanding the provisions relating to startup. Then on IFSC, the activities there, and of course the tax slabs that we have that has been received so well in the tax community. In the finance bill budget speech, the Honorable FM has also announced that coming week we would be presenting the new finance bill, the act itself, which would be implemented in future. And you would recall that in July of 24, about 6 months back, this announcement was made, and I'm happy to share that huge amount of work has been done. And when we compare it with other countries who did similar exercise, the number of years to do that exercise. And I feel proud that my team has been able to do it, complete this exercise within a span of 26 months. A very comprehensive exercise. In this exercise, we have actually tried to simplify the language, make the act more concise, remove the redundancies in the act, remove the old provisions that were coming in place in the act and for making the act bulky. And the basic thought was, can we make it simple for a taxpayer to understand the provisions in the act? Because once that clarity is there, naturally the scope for interpretation gets minimized, the litigation gets minimized. So that is the basic idea. The act should be meeting the international standards. So that is the thought with which we will be bringing this document. And I would request all the participants here, all the delegates here, to give us suggestions after going through the act. And I can assure you that the suggestions that would come would actually, each of those suggestions would get equal attention, and we would try to incorporate, because together we can actually give to the nation an act which is easy to comply and which provides clarity to the entire ecosystem. So it's not a question of only tax department, because now it will be our document, and together we should be to the present generation and the future generation. Uh, with this, I can close with a lot of thanks to the audience here and to the taxpayer community for appreciating the initiatives that we have taken. And let me assure you on part of the department that we are moving with a very, very positive and with approach that it is tax department is a, you see, it is an integral part in economic growth, and it is no longer a resource department. It is a department which is participated, which would encourage thoughts, new thoughts, fresh ideas. I mean, thank you.
So indeed, I think these are compliance, simplification and knowledge disorder. I think that's the underlying fact and it's very well reflected in the current budget. Thank you so much for your address. Can I request the Chairman license for his address, and he's been with the department for a very long time, very important statement.
Finance Secretary Shri Sunil Pandey, my colleague from CBDT, Shri Ravi Agrawal, President Kiki, Shri Harshvardhan Agrawal, Senior Vice President Shri Anand Goenka, Shri Pranav Saitka, Chairman Tax Committee of Kiki, Jyotiji, DG Kiki, delegates from various chambers of commerce and industry, and ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to address the gathering in this conference on budget 2025. And it gives me an opportunity to tell you about how the proposals have been made for this budget. So I would start with that the thrust of budget as far as customs portion is concerned was fourfold. It was to support the domestic manufacturing and value addition in the country. Second objective was to promote exports. Third objective was to provide relief to the common people. And the fourth objective, which is always the objective, is to facilitate the trade. Before coming to these fourfold objectives, I would also like to share the insights of how we carried out the Honorable Finance Minister announcement in July budget last year about an exercise which will be carried out for customs duty rate rationalization. Just after the budget, we started the exercise, and I will tell you the magnitude of that exercise. In customs tariff, there are about 12,500 tariff lines. So we decided to carry out this exercise in case of industrial goods, and industrial goods itself have 8,500 tariff lines. So this exercise was to be conducted on 8,500 tariff lines on industrial goods. We did not carry out this exercise on agriculture goods and textiles, which are otherwise very sensitive areas, because depending upon the availability of agriculture goods, crops, the tariffs are, the rates are rigid during the year. On textiles, again, it's a great employment provider in the country. So again, we have to be very sensitive about the tariffs on textiles. So we left these two areas and carry out the exercise on industrial goods. So while carrying out this exercise, we had four objectives. The first objective was to make the structures simple. Second objective was to ensure that competitiveness of Indian industry remains intact. Third objective was to simplify and to see that if higher protection is to be provided to any particular specific segment of the industry. So that protection is provided for a short duration. So with these objectives, this exercise was carried out, and we noticed that certain rates have to be kept and certain rates can be eliminated. So the rates which are in a narrow band from 0 to 10%. So these are 5 rates: 0%, 2.5%, 5%, 7.5%, and 10%. So most of the tariff lines, out of these 8,500 tariff lines, 6,500 tariff lines fall in these 5 rates, including the 0 rate. And just 2,000 lines are spread over the rates which are higher than that. So we decided that the narrative that in India the tariff rates are very high, we must address to that issue also. And we started with the highest rate, which is 150%. On 150% there is only a single item. On